Om Shanti. So there is this interesting thing that people say that I find it difficult to meditate. Now, what is meditation? Meditation is thinking. Yes, conscious thinking. Conscious thinking about the truth. And thoughts lead to feelings. When you think about things that are false, they position you into false feelings. And what are false feelings? Feelings that are not original to the soul. So it's not natural or original for the soul to feel angry or frustrated or disappointed or hurt or insulted. But when you think in a manner that it leads to these feelings, that's false thinking and false feelings. And here in meditation, you consciously think about true thoughts. So Baba gives us the truth every day. Truth about who we are, what our qualities are, what our destiny is, what is my relationship with God, and how powerful I am or how loveful I am, and how God looks upon me as the savior of this whole civilization. So Baba tells us the truth about who we are, what we are capable of, who my parent is. And when you consciously sit and think about these truths, that's called meditation. And then it gets you in touch with true feelings, which are feelings of peace and love and happiness, which is your original nature and your birthright. So is thinking that difficult? So you think all day, and what's the problem in thinking about the truth? It's just that here it is conscious thinking, and there it is unconscious thinking. And then there is a law in psychology that says that when your thoughts are positive, they are slower, and when they are negative, they are very fast. So the thoughts based on truth are slower. So you can just, in an interval of 2 minutes, 3 minutes, just drop in one thought: I'm peace, and I look like this, I'm a star, and just feel the feelings that emerge from those thoughts. And that's it. That's meditation. How is it difficult? Yes, you don't have to change anything. You are thinking anyway. It's just you make it conscious and make it based on truth. And then everything else follows, because when you undertake the course, I give you this whole chain from thoughts, feelings, attitude, action, habit, personality, relationships to destiny. So once you start shifting how you think, because you see, if you spend some time thinking consciously about the truth, then it sets in momentum a kind of movement where you tend to think unconsciously also about the truth during the day, and your pattern of thought starts to shift gradually, and then thoughts lead to destiny, so everything else just follows. So this is why early in the morning you sit and think about these thoughts of truth consciously, so that it leads to a destiny of the day to begin with, and then your life's destiny. So it is said a day is a microcosm of your life. So if you can just create one day's destiny, then you replicate it every day, then it creates the destiny of your life. So this is very simple. So there is no problem with meditation, right? So meditation is very, very easy. It is reflecting on the truth about myself, the truth about Baba. And so the truth leads to uh, feelings that are true. And when you think about stuff that's false, you think about who you are not. So you start thinking about your physical identity and your professional identity and other stuff. So that's not who you are. So you have to understand, make the distinction that I am a soul and I play the role of a professional or a family person or this or that. But all those roles are just an extension of who I am. So you want to be a good father, you want to be a good mother, so be a soul. So if you're in touch with your qualities, you will do everything well. Yes, you will come up with the right ideas, you will speak the right words, you will speak. And um, how much can you act? So if you are good, you do good, you speak good, and good comes back. And then you can't act too much, I've seen people, they are waiting for a client or they have some business so they are into some business and they're waiting for a client, and then the client is late by 6 hours or 8 hours, and then in the beginning 4 hours 5 hours they try to maintain their calm and be all sorted and take care of the plan. But by the time the client comes, they're frustrated and they end up messing the deal because they cannot act for 8 hours. They couldn't keep up the act for 8 hours. But if you are a patient person, if you are a peaceful person, if you are a loveful person, then that those qualities will go with you. And then there is another aspect that Baba makes us acquainted with, which is when the soul is in its state of virtues, then the buddhi functions well. So you see, when your body is healthy, so when all the five elements of nature are in balance in the body, then all your physical organs also work well, right? So you have good eyesight and you can smell well, hear well, all of that stuff. So Baba says these are organs of the soul. So when the soul is in its power, so when you, the soul, are full of knowledge, peace, purity, love, etc., then your organs, the mind, buddhi, and the sanskar work well. And what does the buddhi do? It discerns and decides. So when the soul is pure, the soul, and mainly purity, because purity is the primary thing. So when you are very pure as a soul, then your buddhi will make the right decisions and discern things automatically. And I will tell you one thing. So I'm not a very, um, you know, I'm not a very inquisitive person when it comes to, other people's lives and what they're doing. And even people who live with me, I don't inquire into what they are doing. So I'm more of that kind. And then, I just do my thing, which Baba says. And then uh, I have seen that when there is something that I need to know, it comes to me. So if there is something that I really need to know and be aware of, it could be anything. It could be a lifestyle thing. It could be how I conduct myself in my relationships. It could be somebody that I need to be a little wary of. It could be somebody who intends otherwise. It could be anything, or it could be some financial thing that needs to be taken care of. It just comes to me. It's like a mess. It's like Baba brings it to me. And this is something that I have noticed. And I tell you that when you work on your seven qualities, then everything else automatically follows. So, you will, when you are with a person, the right words will flow. You don't even know, you don't know what they need or what they are here for, but those things will flow. So, and then the right sanskar will emerge. If you have to be strict with someone, you'll automatically feel like being strict with that one. If you have to be loveful to someone, you'll feel like being loveful to someone, and you will do that anyway. If somebody needs advice, you will end up giving that. If somebody needs compassion, you will end up giving that. So that's how automatic it is. And this is why it's the only thing that we have to do is think about Baba and think about myself as Baba's child, and think about how Baba looks at me, and then start thinking about myself like that. So Baba looks at me very differently from how the world looks at me. And when I start looking at myself as Baba looks at me, and start thinking about myself very, very consciously as God's child, then I kind of switch to that original state of the soul. Gradually, of course, it's not a one day thing, but slowly, gradually, that shift starts happening. And then everything, the five elements of nature, your body, your man, buddhi, sanskar, everything starts harmonizing with you. You are in a state of harmony. You don't feel you're surrounded by enemies. You feel you're surrounded by friends. So even your body, you ask your body to cooperate, it cooperates, and then you cooperate with it by giving it the rest it needs. So you have a harmonious relationship where everything and everyone cooperates with you. And I have seen that even the body cooperates so much. So whenever there is seva, your body will cooperate with you, and then you can give it the rest when there is free time. So that's also there. So everything, the body, the buddhi, the sanskars, they will all cooperate. It's not like you are meant to be sweet sometime and then your sanskar of being, aloof will emerge. No, you will feel like being sweet. So, if you have to, if you have to make contact with souls and give them Baba's love for continuously 5 days, so you will not feel like I'm running out of love. You will be fully available. So that's the kind of relationship you will develop. But it all begins with self-reflection and reflecting on yourself vis-a-vis Baba, and looking at yourself as Baba's child and full of qualities, and then emerging them. And that's the truth. And the truth will set you free. So this is how it is. Now today Baba talks about many things in the Murli. Baba talks about Shivratri, Baba talks about Sangam Yug, Baba talks about Meera, Baba talks about Kashi Kalvat, Baba talks about Shri Krishna's Janmashtami. So there are many things that Baba talks about today in the Murli, and so particularly interesting is what Baba starts the Murli with, which is, this is the beautiful, benevolent confluence age, Suhavna Kalyankari Sangam Yug. And Baba in the Murli today says that the scriptures don't talk about Sangam Yug. So the scriptures have no mention of a time when God comes, and this at the end of Kali Yuga, there is this Sangam Yuga where the act of God takes place. So the scriptures don't mention this, and because the scriptures don't mention it, we are not anticipating it. Yes, and it takes a while to come to terms with it. So one day I was going in the metro, and then there was this brother who came up to me and he said, I want to ask you one question. You look like somebody who studies spiritual matters. So I said, yes, please go ahead. And then he said, so you please tell me, when is this Kalki avatar happening? So, there is a mention in the scriptures of Kalki avatar, and they say that in the end of Kali Yuga, Shri Krishna will take the Kalki avatar. So I said, the Kalki avatar has already happened, or but what is your idea of a Kalki avatar? So he said that there'll be somebody coming on a horse and stuff. So I said, okay, he has also come on a horse, but then you have to understand the horse differently. So you see that people have fixed ideas based on scriptures, and when your idea matches that description, so if there is somebody who comes on a horse, and then that matches the description of the Kalki avatar, people will really take that one seriously. But then Baba says that there is no mention of how God, although they say that establishment takes place through Brahma, and Brahma is always shown with Kalyugi signs, like Brahma is shown as a old man and with white beard and white hair. So that means that Brahma is a part of the Kalyugi world, and we understand that because every deity is shown very young and dynamic, but Brahma is shown as very old. And so we understand that Baba says that through establishment takes place through Brahma, and then there is mention of that in the scriptures also. Yet it's very difficult to understand that at the end of Kali Yuga suddenly God comes and he creates this Sangam Yuga. And then this Sangam Yuga is also very interesting because physically it's always Kali Yuga. Physically, externally, nothing changes. But when you are in remembrance of Baba, and when you are in remembrance, and when you are in connection with Baba, then your world is very different from the Kali-yugi reality. So, when people step into the center or they go to Madhuban, they say it's a different world here. So it looks like a different age. It's a different world. It's a different age. And the Kalyugi things don't exist there. So Baba says that this Sangam Yuga is very unique. It's beautiful and it's benevolent and it is very unique. And if you, so there are many people who have difficulty understanding what is Sangam Yuga because physically it is always Kali Yuga. So if you ask me what is Sangam Yuga, I think that, just like in the world they say Muhurat, so auspicious time. So people say that, from this time to this time today is a very auspicious time. It is Shubh Muhurat. And then whatever you do at that time will be different. So if you look at the clock, it's the same. But then they talk about auspicious time. So there are concepts in bhakti also with which you can compare this. And Baba says that when you're with Baba, then you are in a good time. So when you're connected with Baba, the way time responds to you is very different. So, and every activity takes place in time. So you sow the seed of action in time. And when you're connected with Baba, when you are in soul consciousness and in remembrance of Baba, then time is different for you. That's why it's called an age. So it's related to time. And your relationship with time is different. And how that time works for you is very different. And then whatever actions you do in this time make punya karam. And that happens because you are in Sangam Yug, because you are in Baba's remembrance. So even if you technically it could be a bad muhurat, but because you are in Sangam Yug, time works in your favor. So that's how I think I understand it. And does that make sense to you? So that's how I think I understand Sangam Yug, because why is it called an age? Because it's related to time, and in time every action takes place. So you sow the seed of action in the soil of time. And when you are connected with Baba, when you are in Baba's awareness, time works in your favor. So that's why it is called Sangam Yuga. And then Baba today also talks about Dharmatma, Papatma, Punyatma. And Baba says that you are Dharmatmas because, in the world, everybody is a Papatma. So even if today they decide not to do any pap, they are still, they will encounter situations which will push them to do some pap. Yes, so think viciously or get upset on the inside. But Baba says, now I'm teaching you to do actions. I'm making you a dharmatma, I'm making you a punyatma. And you as a punyatma, I'm teaching you such actions that for 21 births, even if you don't take care of what you're doing, you will always do the right thing and be in the right situation. So even if, in Satyug, you will not be conscious that you do good action. But if you, but just like, in Kali, even in states of unawareness, people do bad action. Similarly, in Satyug, you will automatically do a karma that will not lead to any wrong consequences, because it is at this time that you create that whole momentum and you create that punya karma on the directions of Baba. And so this is about Sangam Yuga, and then Baba talks about Shivratri, and today he says Shivratri is the correct word, Shiv Jayanti is not, because he says when you say the birthday of Shiv Baba, then it also means there'll be a death day. So because you see in the Shastra we have read, and that's a truth, that there are some pairs of opposite which will always exist with each other. So when you say birth and death, fame and defamation, success and failure, night and day. So you cannot have night without day. You cannot have success without failure. You cannot have fame without defamation. You cannot have life without death. So that's how profound that is. Do you get that thing? It's a very profound thing to know. So, if you want success, you should have a good relationship with failure. So if you want, it's because these pairs of opposites never exist independently. They are always together. So they don't come isolated. They are always together. So this is why Baba also mentions this thing, that if you talk about a birthday, then automatically it implies a death. So Baba says that is why in Bhakti also people say it's Shivratri. They don't say Shiv Jayanti mostly. Yes, they say Shivratri because they know that Shiva is doesn't die. So Baba says, and Shivratri is the right word. And then Baba explains why Shivratri, because if you look at the whole practice in Bhakti, so more, every deity has a Janamdin, birthday, but there is only two Ratris, Navratri and Shivratri. So there are two festivals with which you associate this word Ratri. There is Navratri and there is Shivratri. And why? Because Navratri is a celebration of the Shiv Shaktis, and Shivratri is a celebration of Shiva. And Baba says the act of Shiv Baba and the act of Shiv Shaktis takes place in the night, and Shiv Baba comes to change the night into the day, and the Shiv Shaktis also collaborate with Baba to do that very thing. So the celebration of the Shaktis and of Shiva is done together, and it is called, both are called a celebration of the night, because you see that it's all, and what is the night about? The night is about this night of Kali Yuga. So it is the unlimited night of Kali Yuga, and Baba comes to change the night into the day, the night of vices, and bring dawn and day. And the Shaktis also do the work with Baba. So that's why Ratri is associated with both of these. So this is something that Baba says. And then Baba says that when Baba comes, so we are all acquainted with the Gita as Indians, and we know that in the Gita, it is very clear that God, Gita, Mahabharat, and a new world are connected. So we know that the sermonizer of Gita comes when it is Mahabharat Kal. And when he comes, then in the Gita it is written, I destroy all religions and establish one religion. So Baba says, you understand that when I have come, I am God. So God is not a human like it was erroneously put in the Gita. So I have come, I am God. So it automatically implies that this is the Mahabharat Kal and destruction is happening. Definitely it will happen. And it also implies that the new world is coming. And I will tell you, I started Seva some 11, 12 years ago. And when I used to tell people about destruction at that time, so when children used to come for course and we used to give this knowledge, they couldn't wrap their minds around it, and it was very difficult for them to understand. But today you talk about destruction, it makes absolute sense. So now you tell somebody that a destruction is coming, it's so clear, you don't even have to take one full chapter or devote 1 hour to it. They say, okay, the signs are visible and we understand. And I will tell you, there is this one sister, and she's from Nepal, and she's some 60 years of age or something. And then when she was young, she was 14 or 15 years of physical age. In Nepal, she took the knowledge. And then she used to tell me, and I just had a conversation with her some days back, and she told me, Didi, in Nepal, it was very similar to heaven at that time. So, it's a beautiful country, and I was in the lap of nature, and we used to literally sleep with doors open. We never had theft or anything, and it was beautiful. And in that time, when I took knowledge, I used to think, oh, Baba is talking about some bizarre stuff which is almost impossible. So, what is this Kali Yuga? This is not Kali Yuga. I don't see any pain. I don't see any agony. And then she said, you see, Didi, in these 45 years or something, I totally see what Baba says, and it's so apparent and so visible and so in the face that this is Kali Yuga and we are TikTok moving towards destruction. And so you see that Baba today says that when I come, it is implied that it is time for destruction, and the other implication is that it is time for a new world also. And Baba today also says that as time passes and as you as a soul mature, just like, destruction is something that you can see very really, you will also be able to see very clearly the new world. And those who are practicing BKs, they feel that now we understand Satyug better, and Satyug looks more like a reality now. So we connect with that reality. Do you feel like that? Yes. So earlier, even so, destruction didn't make sense, and Satyug made no sense earlier. So, when I think, there was this one sister, and she came for the course, and then I showed her the picture of Lakshmi and Narayan, and I said, you see, this is your aim and objective, and you're going to become this tomorrow. So she said, I don't know, Didi, if I want to become like this. I don't like their dressing sense too much. And so, sometimes they things don't make sense to us. So we don't connect with the jewelry or the style. Or again, Baba says today that the pictures you have created are not accurate. But whatever it is, sometimes it becomes difficult to connect with those things. But Baba says that as you approach, you will be able to connect with everything. Everything will make sense. The physical appearance, the dressing sense, the lifestyle, everything will make sense. And slowly, gradually, that is also happening. And then Baba today talks about Meera, and Baba says that, so Meera is very celebrated, and I met somebody who is doing a treatise on Meera in a reputed university, and so Meera is celebrated a lot, but Baba today says that people don't know that Meera is celebrated because of her purity. And when people do work on Meera, they highlight many aspects of Meera, like the aspect of a poetess or the aspect of love for God. But the Babas today in the Murli says that Meera could have visions of Sri Krishna whenever she was in Sri Krishna's remembrance, and it's primarily because Meera stuck to purity. And we know that Meera was married and she accepted a bowl of poison instead of, getting into. So when she was forced to get into impurity, she accepted a bowl of poison instead of, going back on her vow of purity which she made to Sri Krishna. And Baba today says that it is because of that understanding, which was very unconscious, but it was there in Meera, that when you love Sri Krishna, you adhere to purity. Because Sri Krishna lives in a world where there is no lust. So Sri Krishna is the first prince of Satyug, and there is no vikar in Satyug. So Baba says that if you are engaging in lust, there is no chance you can go to Sri Krishna's kingdom. So Baba today says that people don't realize that Mira's praise and importance is because of her realization of the power of purity. And why I tell you this is because I have had a very personal interaction with somebody who works a lot on Mira. And then when I was interacting with that person, they mentioned everything that was celebrated about Mira, but not purity. And then I pointed out there in that interaction, but Mira is, so you know Mira because she drank a bowl of poison because she didn't accept to be impure. And do you also want to highlight that in your work and send out the message that devotees should, devotees should pay attention to celibacy? And then they kept quiet. So we don't we seldom, we don't uh, paint the whole picture. So Baba says that Mira is counted as Bhakt Shiromani because even in bhakti there were souls who understood the importance of celibacy, and those are the bhagats that are also celebrated. Yes, and if you look at even sannyas dharam, so I remember that in somebody told me that in case of Sri Aurobindo, so when Sri Aurobindo's wife died, so Sri Aurobindo uttered the word "Ma nahi rahi." So he always addressed his wife as Ma because you when you are really you understand spirituality, then purity starts making sense to you, and the relationship, how you look at your spouse also shifts. So these things I have noticed even in in Kali Yuga also. So Mira is probably a character from the beginning of Kali Yuga, but even in the end of Kali Yuga, some 100, 200 years also, back also, you get examples of these bhagats who could realize the importance of purity. So Baba tells this thing, and then Baba says that those are examples from bhakti, but now you are making an effort to go to the land of Sri Krishna. So then obviously there is no compromise in purity because if you think that a bhagat also by adhering to purity could get a vision, then how can you go to that world without accepting purity as an integral part of your life? So this is something that Baba talks about. And then Baba says that in Kashi Kalvat, people go and they just, there's a well and there is a sword in between that well. So there's a sword from one end to the other of the well. And in bhakti, so that well has been, now it's not there, it's covered. But earlier people used to go and offer their lives. So they used to jump into the well and get cut by the sword. And they used to do that in remembrance of Shiva. And they used to have this desire that if we do this, then we'll end up in Shiva's land, which is the soul world. But Baba says that's not possible. So Baba has been repeating this for 2-3 murlis that in bhakti, from bhakti, you don't go to mukti and jivan mukti. So you do a lot of bhakti and then Baba comes and he gives you gyan, and then you work on that gyan and then you are entitled to mukti, jivan mukti. So this is something that Baba says. And then there is a question. So Baba in the Murli says that if we go to Baba Milan as a patit, then it is bad karma, which will make us a chandal in the next birth. But I'm still a patit in this journey. I listen to Baba Milan on Zoom sitting at home. Should I not listen to it? or I listen to it when I become completely pure. So see, the thing is, our mind works in funny ways. So in the Murli today, I was also speaking about this thing that once you understand that meeting God and purity are connected, it shouldn't take you a second to embrace purity. Yes? So you don't make God wait for you to become pure. You become pure for God. Okay, and what is it that is so urgent that we cannot become pure right now? So what can't we leave for God? So that's the question we need to ask ourselves. Okay, so don't let your mind play these games of I'm very noble and I'm tied. Baba says, chodo to chuto. There is nothing that is tying you. Just leave that impurity. Okay. Om Shanti. Let's now, yes, there is bhog. So we will all offer bhog to Baba, and I will take you to the other room. And there are these brothers and sisters who have birthdays this month, Alokik birthdays, because they took the course online and it's been a year, and then this is the month of their birthday, Alokik birthday. So they are offering bhog for that, and some have Lokik birthdays, and some have anniversaries, and some have a new job or a new shop. So they are also offering bhog. And some have had some karmic settlements of the body that are over. So now they are offering bhog. So let's all take Baba's, they take their remembrances to Baba and our remembrances also to Baba, and collectively offer bhog to Baba. So wait a minute or two and I'll direct you to the other room. Om Shanti.